If you pay attention, you'll notice that for most of you, actually feeling afraid, like terrified, like panicky, sweaty, nauseous, that's quite rare. You don't often feel that way. You don't often actually feel fear. And yet, a vast majority of your decisions are fear-based. See, fear is a lot sneakier than it's kind of made out to be. Fear is not as obvious as it is in a horror movie. Fear mostly uses manipulation to get what it wants. It works undercover. As a confidence coach, I've essentially been studying how to battle against fear as a large part of my work. Courage is one of the main pillars of confidence, the ability to do something you're afraid of doing. And what I've noticed is for all of fear's tricks and tactics and sneaky strategies, it all really comes down to one thing that it's trying to do, one goal that it has. It's trying to delay you. If you think about it, it's the perfect goal to stop you doing something. All I need to do is make you think you're going to do it later. And as long as I can keep making you think that, I'm able to encourage you while actually discouraging you. I'm able to make it look like I'm supporting you and cheerleading you and on your team while actually preventing you from making progress. It's the perfect crime. See, if I'm fair and I just say, no, don't do it, you might get frustrated with the thing and actually end up doing it because you think, oh, if I don't do it now, I'll never do it and there'll be all these consequences. And as soon as you think of that, you'll panic into actually doing the thing. If you are actually aware of the consequences of not taking action all those times you're afraid, and you actually played that out in your head and thought of how damaging it would be to be cowardly all the time, then you would be brave. It would push you to do things. So fear can't be that direct, it can't be that blunt. It has to be more subtle. And so what it does is plays a trick on you where you make a promise to yourself that you will do the thing later. Sometimes that promise is vague, just a sense of not now, but sometime. And other times very specific. I'll start eating right on Mondays, right after the weekend. It doesn't matter how it comes across. The sense is always kind of like something will be done at some point. I'm not giving up, but just not right now because dot 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 insert rational reason. Some of you would have seen the Lord of the Rings movies, and the second one in the trilogy is called The Two Towers. Now, in that movie, there's a king character, and he has an advisor. And the king is quite sick and weakly, and this advisor is just constantly whispering in his ear. And spoiler alert, it turns out the advisor is actually a saboteur, as one of his enemies has been sent in um, to sabotage what's been happening. The advisor's name is Wormtongue, as a reflection of the kind of sickness of his words. He's kind of magic. He has these words that get into your mind and manipulate you and discourage you. And he stops the king from making all the moves that would stop the enemy from coming in. And when he whispers to him, it's always this kind of encouraging, supportive talk like, oh, you're so tired. You need a rest. Now's not the time. Why do they bother you with this stuff? You've got so many responsibilities. It sounds like he's really his advisor, his friend. But when the king listens to him, the king actually doesn't take the bold actions needed to protect the kingdom. And I think this character is one of the most perfect kind of personifications of how fear manipulates an individual. You may notice some of the ways that fear seems to encourage and support you, and yet in the long run, you end up being worse with your behavior, not better. It might say you've earned a reward or you've earned a break to get you to cheat on your diet or to get you to stop exercising or to get you to give up on finishing your tax return. This kind of thing, like you've done so much already, enough already, like take a break. It sounds like a healthy thing. And in fact, there'll be times where that would be healthy to do. But when fear's telling you, you don't know the difference between the healthy reason to take a break or to give yourself a bit of a treat of some kind versus this being an act of sabotage that breaks your progress and kills your momentum. You can do it all, and you should. This is what I call the Everest Effect. Fear comes in like this cheerleader saying, don't just do it to the best of all standards, do everything. So it either tells you to do very, very high quality or it tells you to do very high quantity. So it actually sounds like encouraging, like you can do it all, knowing that you can't, that's too overwhelming, that's too much pressure. And so when you finally do give up because it's just too hard or you can't get started because you're too overwhelmed, it doesn't occur to you that that voice saying you could do it all knew that that was going to happen and set you up to fail. That the voice of fear says do it all. The voice of courage says just do a little bit and see how you feel. Anytime pressure comes up at the thought of doing something, you know you're being manipulated because pressure is not encouragement. You don't achieve things with pressure. Pressure is a squeeze, a suppression. It slows you down. It doesn't speed you up. Just because it's always been there doesn't mean it gets the credit for your successes. If anything, you would have had even more success if it hadn't been there. Fear can sabotage your relationships. It could say this person's not perfect, or that person has a minor flaw, or if they did this, that means that they are X, Y, and Z. So go find someone else. It's kind of like constantly putting off getting intimate with somebody, constantly telling you the grass is greener on the other side. Again, all of this is just a delay. It's all just to stop you doing the brave thing now. Fear has endless enthusiasm and resources to play this delay tactic. It can do it again and again and again. It can do it every 10 seconds if it needs to. You will have had that conversation in your head many times. Like, I'm going to go and start my workout. Nah, I don't know. I'm a bit sore. No, I'm really going to start it this time. I don't know. You've kind of got a bit of an injury. Maybe tomorrow. No, this time I've got to. I've got to stop pissing around. Well, you've left it too late now. And just keeps knocking away at you, trying to find a reason for you to say, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. And then when tomorrow comes around, it comes in again with the same enthusiasm and a new list of reasons why tomorrow isn't the right day. And you got to put it off even further. Whether it delays you seconds or years, it doesn't matter. The whole point is that you don't change now. And once you see it, once you see this tactic being used against you, you'll realize every time I listen to this delay voice, I end up avoiding and missing out and slowing down my progress on the things I know I should be doing. See, fear does not care about your safety. The thoughts, the intrusive and automatic thoughts that come up in relation to fear are not your support team. This is not some voice trying to keep you successful. This is a voice trying to keep you the same. Fear does not actually care about your safety. People do unsafe things all the time. They overeat, they speed in their motor vehicles, they get into pointless arguments with their partner. People aren't really that safe. But what they are is familiar. They keep repeating the same old patterns over and over again. And fear's primary motivation is to make you repeat old patterns. And so it always tries to delay anything that would change an old pattern, like starting exercising, starting your own business, asking out that person you got a crush on, and so on. I've seen scientific research that shows that people get such a massive dopamine hit from promising to do an action that they actually feel like they've done it. It's the same kind of reward as having completed a task successfully. You will have noticed people, and you might be one of them, who constantly promise, who constantly say they're going to do things and never follow through, and yet don't seem to notice that they're doing this. They don't seem to have any sort of shame about that repetition of broken promises to themselves and others. It's because they feel so good about making the promise that the way they register it is they've actually done the thing. So as far as they're concerned, they've got a general vague feeling that they always do what they said they're going to do. The truth is they always get a chemical reward for saying they're going to do things. They don't realize that's not the same as actually doing something. Whatever it is your intrusive thoughts are trying to stop you from doing right now is probably the thing you need to be doing. Because if it really was fear around safety, the words wouldn't be do it tomorrow or, don't do it at all. It'd be do it carefully, but do it right now. When you actually want to move forward on something and actually want to make a change, you'll take any steps in that direction. But if you want to be safe, you take small steps, careful steps, but still forward steps. You're worried about the risks of starting a business? Of course you are. But is there really such a risk in just choosing a business name today? Is there really such a risk in reaching out to your first potential client to see if they might be keen? No, none of these actions are dangerous. Why would fear try to stop you doing that? Because it knows if you kept doing stuff like this, your life would change and the old familiar patterns would be broken. And that's all fear cares about is keeping those old patterns unbroken. The next time your brain says someday, later, tomorrow, go, no, that means never. So I either do something small right now or I commit to never doing this thing and stop making promises to yourself. In fact, that's probably the simplest way to manage this delay tactic. Don't allow yourself to make promises to yourself or others. You either do the thing right here and now, or you say out loud, I'm never going to do it, and see how you feel about saying that. Are you a nice guy or people